Welcome to In Focus with Silvana Pavlovska, an independent journalist from Melbourne, Australia. We are continuing our series on the Macedonian question, and in particular the Prespa agreement as cultural genocide of the Macedonian national identity towards the termination of an illegal treaty by Prof.d-r Igor Janev. We have now reached the stage of Annex B, and its title is Legislative Modifications. The parties will take all necessary measures to ensure the adoption of the legislative changes set forth hereafter within the time limits specified. 1. Law on local self-government. The Assembly shall adopt within 45 days from the signing of the Framework Agreement a revised law on local self-government. This revised law shall in no respect be less favourable to the units of local self-government and their autonomy than the draft law proposed by the Government of the Republic of Macedonia in March 2001. The law shall include competencies relating to the subject matters set forth in Section 3.1 of the Framework Agreement as additional independent competencies of the units of local self-government and shall conform to Section 6.6 of the Framework Agreement. In addition, the law shall provide that any state standards or procedures established in any laws concerning areas in which municipalities have independent competencies shall be limited to those which cannot be established as effectively at the local level. Such laws shall further promote the municipalities' independent exercise of their competencies. 2. Law on local finance. The Assembly shall adopt by the end of the term of the present Assembly a law on local self-government finance to ensure that the units of local self-government have sufficient resources to carry out their tasks under the revised law on local self-government. In particular, the law shall enable and make reasonable units of local self-government for raising a substantial amount of tax revenue, provide for the transfer to the units, provide to the transfer, where are we? I think we might have skipped a page here. Bear with me. Yeah. Provide for the transfer to the units of law of local self-government of a part of centrally raised taxes that corresponds to the functions of the units of local self-government, and that takes account of the collection of taxes on their territories, and ensure the budgetary autonomy and responsibility of the units of local self-government within their areas of competence. Number 3, law on municipal boundaries. The Assembly shall adopt by the end of 2002 a revised law on municipal boundaries, taking into account the results of the census and the relevant guidelines set forth in the law of local self-government. 4. Laws pertaining to police located in the municipalities. The Assembly shall adopt before the end of the term of the present Assembly provisions ensuring that each local head of police is selected by the council of the municipality concerned from a list of not fewer than 3 candidates proposed by the Ministry of the Interior, among whom at least 1 candidate should belong to the community in the majority in the municipality. In the event the municipal council fails to select any of the candidates proposed within 15 days, the Ministry of the Interior shall propose a second list of not fewer than 3 new candidates, among whom at least 1 candidate should belong to the community in the majority in the municipality. If the municipal council again fails to select any of the candidates proposed within 15 days, the Minister of the Interior, after consultation with the government, shall select the local head of police from among the 2 lists of candidates proposed by the Ministry of the Interior, as well as 3 additional candidates proposed by the municipal council. That each local head of the police informs regularly and upon request the council of the municipality concerned. That a municipal council may make recommendations to the local head of police in areas including public security and traffic safety, and that a municipal council may adopt annually a report regarding matters of public safety, which shall be addressed to the Minister of the Interior and the Public Attorney or the Ombudsman. 5. Laws on the civil service and public administration. The Assembly shall adopt by the end of the term of the present Assembly amendments to the laws on the civil service and public administration to ensure equitable representation of communities in accordance with Section 4.2 of the Framework Agreement. 6. Law on electoral districts. The Assembly shall adopt by the end of 2002 a revised law on electoral districts, taking into account the results of the census and the principles set forth in the law on the election of members to the Parliament of the Republic of Macedonia. 7. Rules of the Assembly. The Assembly shall amend by the end of the term of the present Assembly its rules of procedure to enable the use of the Albanian language in accordance with Section 6.5 of the Framework Agreement. Paragraph 8 below and the relevant amendments to the Constitution set forth in Annex A. Now, talking about Albanian language and the Republic of Macedonia. Enabling the use of Albanian language in accordance with da-da-da-da and the relevant amendments to the Constitution set forth in Annex A. 8. Laws pertinent to the use of languages. The Assembly shall adopt by the end of the term of the present Assembly new legislation regulating the use of languages in the organs of the Republic of Macedonia. This legislation shall provide that representatives may address plenary sessions and working bodies of the Assembly in languages referred to in Article 7, paragraphs 1 and 2 of the Constitution as amended in accordance with Annex A. Laws shall be published in the languages referred to in Article 7, paragraphs 1 and 2 of the Constitution, as amended in accordance with Annex A. And all public officials may write their names in the alphabet of any language referred to in Article 7, paragraphs 1 and 2 of the Constitution, as amended in accordance with Annex A on any official documents. Now, this has been happening in the period prior to 2002, and it appears that the deadline is 2002. We are now in 2024. The Assembly shall adopt by the end of the term of the present Assembly new legislation on the issuance of personal documents. The Assembly shall amend by the end of the term of the present Assembly all relevant laws to make their provisions on the use of languages fully compatible with Section 6 of the Framework Agreement. 9. Law on the Public Attorney. The Assembly shall amend by the end of 2002 the law on public attorney, as well as other relevant laws to ensure that the public attorney shall undertake actions to safeguard the principles of non-discrimination and equitable representation of communities in public bodies at all levels and in other areas of public life, and that there are adequate resources and personnel within this office to enable him to carry out this function. His office, it's assumed it's a male, it could be a female, but I think it's a male. That the public attorney establishes decentralized offices. That the budget of the public attorney is voted separately by the Assembly. That the public attorney shall present an annual report to the Assembly and, where appropriate, may upon request present reports to the councils of municipalities in which decentralized offices are established, and that the powers of the public attorney are enlarged. To grant to him access to and the opportunity to examine all official documents, it being understood that the public attorney and his staff will not disclose confidential information. To enable the public attorney to suspend, pending a decision of the competent court, the execution of an administrative act if he determines that the act may result in an irreparable prejudice to the rights of the interested person, and to give the public attorney the right to contest the conformity of laws with the Constitution before the Constitutional Court. 10. Other laws. The Assembly shall elect all legislative provision I beg your pardon. The Assembly shall enact all legislative provisions that may be necessary to give full effect to the framework agreement and to amend or abrogate all provisions incompatible with the framework agreement. Moving on to Annex C, title Implementation and Confidence Building Measures. 1. International support. 1.1. The parties invite the international community to facilitate, monitor, and assist in the implementation of the provisions of the framework agreement and its annexes, and request such efforts to be coordinated by who? By the European Union in cooperation with the Stabilization and Association Council, whoever that might be. But let's read this again. 1. International support. 1.1. The parties invite the international community to facilitate, monitor, and assist in the implementation of the provisions of the framework agreement and its annexes, and request such efforts to be coordinated by the EU in cooperation with the Stabilization and Association Council. In other words, foreign powers to be interfering in the Republic of Macedonia, political and all other facets of life. Number 2, census and elections. The parties confirm the request for international supervision by the Council of Europe, again, Council of Europe, and the European Commission, oh yes, of a census to be conducted in October 2001. 23 years ago, almost. The parties confirmed the request for international supervision by the Council of Europe and the European Commission of a census to be conducted in October 2001. 2.2, parliamentary elections will be held by 27th of January 2002 or 2002. International organizations, including OSCE, will be invited to observe these elections. 3, refugee return, rehabilitation and reconstruction. 3.1, all parties will work to ensure the return of refugees who are citizens or legal residents of Macedonia and displaced persons to their homes within the shortest possible time frame, and invite the international community and in particular UNHCR to assist in these efforts. Again, we see interference by foreign powers. 3.2, the government, with the participation of the parties, will complete an action plan within 30 days after the signature of the framework agreement for rehabilitation of and reconstruction in areas affected by the hostilities, by the war that was waged against the Macedonian people. Yeah, that's how it should be best described, according to your journalist here. Hostilities is a war. Yeah, not very accurate reflection of what was going on during that period of time. The parties invite the international community to assist in the formulation and implementation of this plan. 3.3, the parties invite the European Commission, not again, and the World Bank. Why the World Bank? To rapidly convene a meeting of international donors after adoption in the Assembly of the constitutional amendments in Annex A. So this is the condition. So once this